What is going on, guys? Boy Joe Shake 72 coming to you guys with a video right now. So I want to go over some interviews from John Clark and EJ Smith that caught some of these draft prospects that the Eagles had in for pre-draft visits, and kind of just want to go over what was said from these players and some draft prospects that could be on the Philadelphia Eagles by Thursday night, which I'm really excited for. First is Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle from Georgia, one of my favorites, and I know people are complaining about him not being a three-down defensive tackle and not enough sacks. But this guy in a hybrid scheme would work out so well. As a 4-3, he would clog up the hole, he would help out the next defensive tackle next to him, and he would free up that defensive end, and he would get a lot of attention, clogging the hole, and not being moved at all, pretty much immovable. And then in a 3-4 scheme, I mean, him as a nose tackle, I mean, he is just too powerful and unstoppable. That's where you're going to get a good pass rush from him. One of my favorites coming out of this draft. And not to say, but his mother actually is a diehard Eagles fan, would like him to be drafted by the Eagles, which is a good thing. And we'll see where this goes. Like I say, whether it's 15, whether it's 18, I don't know where this is going to happen, but Jordan Davis has been one of my favorites. Coming out in this draft, and I think after the combine, I really started to really like him a lot more just because of, and I'm not just putting this all in the combine. I think for a hybrid scheme, he's going to work out really well. If they draft Jordan Davis, I really think what they should do is move Jordan Davis next to Javon Hargrave and then move Fletcher Cox back in the second rotation with Milton Williams, the second-year player, as well, just because it balances out both lines. And I think between weight and talent, I think you should do that. I think that would be really good. Put Jordan Davis, throw him into the fire as the first starter, and just get him ready, which I'm really excited about. So that's news on Jordan Davis. Next was Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State, which was a really interesting one. So he says, Chris Olave told me he really loved his visit to Philly and really enjoyed meeting with Nick Sirianni and the coaches. He did not want to let the cat out of the bag and say how interested the Eagles are in him, but quote-unquote, good vibes, great vibes in there. There could be a lot of interest. We're hearing about Jameson Williams. We're hearing about Garrett Wilson they haven't talked to yet, his teammate from Ohio State that can go top 10. And it looks like they like Olave a lot. Okay, I understand if they bring a guy on the pre-draft visit. Well, of course they like him. Why would they bring him on a pre-draft visit? They don't bring in a guy on a pre-draft visit if they don't like him. But Olave is a candidate to be there at 18 if he is there. He could drop to that. And I think Olave is going to be one of the best receivers in the league. I think he's going to be great. That short area quickness for big chunk yards. He will get it done in the red zone. He will take the top off. He will be a perfect complementary piece for Devontae Smith. So Chris Olave brought him in, talked to him. They talked to him at his pro day, and they brought him in for a pre-draft visit very late before the draft, a week before the draft. So this one is very interesting. I think the most interesting one is one of my favorites is Jameson Williams, the wide receiver from Alabama, another Alabama player. I think the Eagles liked Jameson Williams a lot. So Jameson Williams said the Eagles said that they would like to draft him. They quote-unquote said they told me that they would love to see me alongside Devontae Smith. I think that would be an explosive offense and something nobody has seen before. Jameson told me he studied Devontae's tape at Alabama, which is kind of crazy. And Jameson Williams would be the best receiver in this draft without this ACL injury, but he's pretty much way ahead of time. He's going to be running by the draft, running by today. He's going to be pretty much going to be ready by training camp. If the Eagles drafted him, he could be one of the sleeper picks as well. So if the Eagles did draft him, I wouldn't mind if they rested him up the whole entire offseason and worked him in very slowly, not to rush him on the field if they gave him a few weeks or maybe throughout the middle of the season. Because if you guys learned from Howie Roseman, his quote-unquote from this past offseason, that this draft is not for short term. This is a long-term draft. Okay, so they could take guys coming off injuries. They've done it before, and they could do it again, and that's what Jameson Williams as well. They got Dickerson. They took a chance on Sidney Jones in 17. They take chances on guys coming off injury, but Jameson Williams is way ahead of schedule right now. I've watched all his rehab videos. He looks really good. He's on a run jog right now. I mean, he's pretty much almost there at 100% full health. I mean, he might not work out in rookie minicamp. He might be there, but obviously not do too much. But I think by training camp, he'll be ready. He'll be full go, depending on what the Eagles want to do with him, with his, coming off this injury. If they don't want to, you don't want to be too cautious with him. Like, you don't want to sit him out for too long, but I wouldn't mind stashing him for a few weeks if you really had to. Put him in for a couple series in a preseason game, but let these guys play at the end of the day. I don't want to be too cautious with anybody. We need, as a guy that could take the top off, I think this would be a very big explosive pair. The other end to this whole thing with all of these, these interviews and all these pre-draft visits, you got to look at some of these picks that didn't have pre-draft visits. You got to look at players like Derek Stingley. You have to look at players like, Kayvon. Kayvon Thibodeaux had a pre-draft visit, but you have to look at guys like Kyle Hamilton and stuff like that. So there are a bunch of players that aren't talked about too much. I thought Jameson Williams has been talked about the past few days. And usually when you hear too much about a player, they might not go to that team. So I'm hoping I'm wrong about this. If they drafted Jameson Williams, you're set at wide receiver for a long time. And really, you put him on the outside, you could rotate Quez, Zach Pascal on the inside. Zach Pascal, a big body. I'll get you 500 to 700 yards probably for the year. He's quick off his break of his routes. And I think Pascal's a really good addition on top of what you have right now. And Quez Watkins definitely needs more snaps. I'd put him in the slot and see what he could do. But Jameson Williams will take the top off. He's going to make teams pay. It's going to open up a lot for Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, and gives, obviously Jalen Hurts another target, and we desperately need another target. And look, I thought getting a receiver in the first is a reach, and it could be because this defense needs pieces right now. They need corner. They need safety. I mean, they can add another linebacker, and they need defensive line help. So, getting a receiver is a risk move, but it's something that's going to pay off for your offense. If this makes Jalen Hurts better, and I hope it does from what Jalen Hurts is trying to prove to us this offseason, and this is the year for Jalen Hurts where he has to really prove himself this year. Adding a guy like Jameson Williams is really gonna hopefully help him out. I really hope it does, because if you can't get one of these receivers to 1,000 yards this year, then I don't know what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? They could they could draft Jameson Williams and sit him out the whole entire year, because since Howie said this is a long-term draft, they could draft him and literally start him in 2023. They could wait a whole year. This year is going to be more evaluation than it is trying to compete and win a Super Bowl, which highly unlikely they're not going to win a Super Bowl. But I think this NFC East division is wide open right now because no teams really got better. Maybe Washington got better with Carson Wentz being the quarterback over there. But between some of these players that are coming out, I think it's almost impossible to screw up these picks, especially 15 and 18. I think most likely you're going to have to move up for Jameson Wilson. For Chris Olave, I think you're going to be, at least you could go from 15 to 18. I think he'll be available there. Jordan Davis, you might have to move up for. You might have to move up in front of the Ravens at 13, so I'm not really sure. But if they want him, they'll probably lose out on him if they don't get to 12 or 13 at that point. So other than that, guys, pretty much it. This was just a very, vague, a few interviews, nothing crazy on some of the pre-draft visits the Eagles had, and kind of finding out from the players what was said. Not everything was said, but a little glimpse of what we got in conversations with these players had with the Eagles that could definitely be in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform by Thursday, by tonight if you're watching on Thursday. So I'm very, very excited, and we'll see what happens. So other than that, guys, let me know what you guys think who they're going to draft. Are they moving up in this draft? You tell me who you would pick in this draft. One of these guys here that got interviewed, or would you think they're going a different route? Someone they're not talking about and keeping under the radar, keeping on the hush-hush real quick. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow us live. Peace out, guys. Peace.